Welcome back to For the Tech of It. And in this episode, I'm going to focus on helping you to build your technical fluency. 5 steps to make you more marketable. Right after this. Hey, welcome back. So let's start out with talking about a few reasons why you may be wanting to build your technical fluency. So reasons can vary, of course. You just may be wanting a career change, and for a lot of people, that's the case nowadays. Perhaps you've already retired and you want to pick up some part-time work on the side. For many of you, a 4-year college or university is just not going to be in the cards for you. It's just way too expensive, and you want to get into the job market a lot sooner. Continuing education for a lot of folks, including myself. I want to continue to keep my skills well honed, so I'm looking for continuing education opportunities. And for a lot of folks, increased income potential, right? You could be out of work now, or you're looking at making a job change and you want to make a little bit more money. So all of these reasons, plus I'm sure there are a litany of others that I haven't even touched on here, may be reasons why, or a combination of these, may be a reason or reasons why you're interested in moving into a more technical field and building your technical fluency. Now, a little bit about me. My professional career in information technology started 30 years ago. And back then, desktop computing was all the rage. Only a decade prior to that, and this was in the 80s, IBM had released the original IBM PC. It was the model, I think it was the 5150. Not long after IBM released that, we started seeing other third parties making what they called PC compatibles, computers that cost less but ran the same software as the IBM PC. And the growth in the PC market began to explode across the globe. Now, prior to this, technology that was once really only available to governments and very large institutions was now being made available to the many. And I did come to realize after graduating from high school that this is an area that I wanted to work in. So I focused my education, all my learnings, on software development, computer networks, microcomputer maintenance and repair. There was a lot of work done there. Small businesses were finding more interest in networking their computers together to where they could share data more seamlessly and share some of their printing devices, because back then, if you needed to print, companies were buying printers and putting a printer on everyone's desk. So that became a pretty costly gambit for a lot of small businesses. So in comes local area networks like Novell Netware, Artisoft, Lantastic. There were so many of them at the time that it made it it was a lot more simpler to just set up a local area network, and cheaper to set up a local area network and share their printing devices that way, as well as, of course, share data. So, I've worked in, if the list that you see here, in all of these particular disciplines over the past 30 years in different capacities as a contractor, because I was a freelance consultant when I started out, working for companies, small businesses, medium-sized companies, large corporations. So as you can see, I'm by no means a newcomer to the information technology trade. But if there's one lesson learned that I can share with you, is that I came to realize very quickly that technology changes at such a rapid pace. You've got to really hone in on those key areas that you find interesting and that you also realize the potential growth in that particular discipline. It's tough, but it's very well worth it at the end of the day. So there's a quote that I wanted to share with you here on the power of education. It was a quote I got here from azquotes.com from Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. And his quote is a really powerful quote. I really like this one. It states that the limits of your enlightenment come not from the age that you stopped going to school, but from the age that you stopped being curious. And that's a very powerful statement because whatever industry you happen to be working in, you really never stop learning. There's always something new for you to learn and to explore. It's when you really stop being curious that you stop learning. And the whole purpose of this episode is to really address those of you who are still curious, those of you who still want to learn, who want to make yourself more marketable. So first and foremost, you have to choose a discipline where there's some market demand for it. You don't want to end up taking a lot of training, spending money to learn up on a particular discipline where there's no market for it, or the opportunity to make good money just isn't going to be there for you. So keep that in mind. That's the number one. So number two is salaries. What is the average annual salary for the different disciplines that you may be interested in? Now, what I listed here, as you can see on the slide, I've got Glassdoor.com, Indeed.com, just doing a general internet search, and Salary.com. These websites allow you to specify a particular discipline, let's say electrician, for example, or electronics technician, and you can pull up the different salary ranges. Now, from what I've seen on these sites, these are US-based salaries, but it gives you a good idea of what the average annual pay for each of those are going to be. So definitely take a look at that. Okay, so as you recall, steps 1 and 2 talk about choosing a discipline and reviewing the salaries that each of these disciplines pay. Now, what I have here for you is a table of different career roles that I've selectively chosen, as well as their average annual base salaries. Now, these are US dollars. Now, keep in mind that, again, these are average salaries, so the salaries will range a little bit. You may find some that are a little less, some that could be a good bit more, depending on where you're located or where the job is located. Now, I pulled this information from Indeed.com. So let's take a look at some of these. You'll notice that 3 of them, career roles number 1, 2, and 4, I've placed an asterisk in front of those 3. And the reason for the asterisk is because what I'm going to do after we talk about this table, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about those particular career roles. And I just chose them at random. All right, so starting at the top, let's look at the desktop support technician. Now, the average annual base salary is right about $49,000 a year. I've worked in that capacity as well over the years. It's a very, very good career role. I did it for, I think, 5 or 6 years when I was starting out. Didn't quite pay that much where I was located, but you can make a good bit more as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the some of the different things that you would do in that particular role. Number 2 is the digital media specialist. We'll talk about that one as well. That's at $43,500. Computer network technician. That's at $58,700. These are folks who set up computer networks. They troubleshoot network problems, things of that nature. Electronics technicians, that's $60,378. Cybersecurity analyst, that's $55,073. Website designer, it's about $50,000 a year. And look at cloud engineer. The average salary is over $100,000 a year. That's really interesting. And that is an area that's really in high demand right now. All right, so in this next slide, we're going to look at the job duties for those 3 career roles that I have here with the asterisk next to them. All right, so let's look at the desktop support technician job duties. Again, that average salary is about $49,000 a year. Now, keep in mind that the job duties I have listed here could vary depending on, the employer's needs. So taking a look at them, receiving and documenting requests for support, delivering IT and related assistance upon request. Essentially, you could be a part of a regional or even a global help desk. So people will submit trouble tickets. You'll pick up the phone or you'll process those tickets through some electronic ticketing system, and you'll either work to deploy support resources to assist them for desktop support, or you will go out and actually perform the desktop support tasks yourself. And those consist of everything from setting up new computers, your network, setting up network routers and printers, connecting smartphones and other mobile devices to the network. You'll perform routine inspections and upkeep, of existing computer equipment. You'll update the operating system, so you'll apply patches and what have you, as well as other important software. Now, this could be for desktop and mobile computers as well as for any servers in those environments. Again, it depends on what your employer's needs are. You'll also submit and fulfill requests for new hardware and software purchases. I did that as well for a couple of years. And you can also be providing training to new users as they come into the company. All right, so we're looking at electronic technician job duties here. Now, this is $60,000 a year. Now, this one's really interesting because these are the folks that tend to not only troubleshoot various types of electronics, but they also, in many ways, repair them. We've got all of these electronic devices now surrounding us, everything from our computers to smartphones to, smart watches to these other Internet of Things devices, even home appliances, right? There's some type of computerized circuitry in these devices, from microwave ovens to stoves and refrigerators. All of this stuff at some point needs to be repaired. And the electronics technicians are the folks that do that type of work. So if we look at the list here of some of the job duties, assembling, installing, repairing, troubleshooting, maintaining electronic components, sourcing or fabricating replacement parts for electronic systems. I just talked about the repair piece. Providing training and supervision for new technicians and apprentices who are coming on board. Carrying out scheduled preventative maintenance and servicing equipment. And this could be manufacturing equipment. It doesn't just have to be a PC or a smartphone or something of that nature. You could be working in some type of manufacturing environment. Performing equipment demonstrations and creating training manuals. That's a big one too. Attending training workshops, and of course, obtain and recommend certifications for new technicians that come in. So if you have interest in that, there's your electronics technician. And the third one is digital media specialist. Now, this one, I don't think I've really done much work in this particular discipline other than for my channel here. So this is new to me as well. So working closely with management, I'm management because I own the channel, to develop a strategy for integrated media campaigns, working with public relations, to select the appropriate media for their projects, working on social media, so you can bring brand awareness to people who use these social media platforms. So the advertisements, for example. You want to make sure that any content that's available on the web is easily searchable via search engines, whether using Google or DuckDuckGo or Microsoft Bing or whatever the case is. Maintaining the online media library. There are a lot of large companies who have their own media libraries. Monitoring impact and return on investment of digital marketing campaigns, and remaining up to date with the latest digital media trends and design technologies. So if you have an interest there, that's the digital media specialist career role. Number 3 is finding the right training. Always first look for free and low-cost training options. Don't go broke spending a whole lot of money on a training program, folks. You can find a wealth of information on training online, YouTube, and just doing a general internet search, your local library. You may want to learn about basic electronics. Magazine subscriptions. Yes, people still subscribe to magazines. I know I do. You can go to the bookstore and buy books. In fact, I've got a book here that I just purchased called Network Security Strategies. Right. So there's a lot of interest right now in making sure that these computer networks are secure because of all the ransomware attacks that have been happening. There's apprenticeships and internships. I'll also include some links in the show notes that you can use to help you research some of this. Your local technical schools and community colleges, most of them have superb programs in place for you to get certifications, for you to get associate's degrees. These are very valuable entities, educational institutions that you really should look into. There are, of course, online seminars and webinars, maybe some in-person ones if you want to take a look at some of those. There may not be as many of the in-person ones right now, but you can certainly find them online. So you definitely want to look for really good training resources, but look for the free ones and the low-cost training first. Okay, so number 4, make sure that whatever you start, follow through with it. You got to stay on top of things. You need to make sure you set aside some time so that you can work on your studies. You want to complete your training, definitely practice what you've learned, keep those skills sharp. And I added to the bottom here, go to where the work is. If you are mobile, you definitely want to look at different markets, different locations, different geographic locations where the work is located. So if you can travel, definitely travel. It makes you that much more marketable. Number 5, this one is extremely important. Congratulate yourself for a job well done. You definitely want to pat yourself on the shoulder, maybe go out to eat or something, but you definitely want to reward yourself for all the hard work that you put in to complete your training. This is where things begin to pay off for you. Okay, here are a few final thoughts I wanted to share with you. First and foremost, as you see here, I have at the very top, don't go into bankruptcy trying to educate yourself in a skilled trade. Don't do it. There are so many free and low-cost alternative sources out there on the internet. I mentioned some earlier on in the presentation here that you can start with. Your local community colleges, vocational technical schools, start there. They have excellent programs. They're not terribly expensive or costly, and you get a lot of hands-on training from these fine institutions around the country. If you are a military veteran, as I am, there are certain benefits that you could qualify for or even get discounts for because you're a veteran. So it definitely doesn't hurt to ask about that. Stay focused and remain vigilant. I know that life gets busy. There's a lot going on, especially nowadays, but you've got to stay focused and remain vigilant so you can complete your training. Third one is make sure you have the right tools to help you along your educational journey. Depending on what you're going to be doing, let's say you want to be an electronics technician, you'll need some type of meter to help you to determine if the device is getting any current flowing through it, right? A multimeter of some type. If you're going into software development, there are a number of free and even open source software development tools out there on the internet that you can download and use. So definitely look for the free and low cost alternatives first. Finally, figure out what really motivates you. And I've got, 4 of them here. There could be others. Is it the higher pay opportunity? Are you looking at retirement and medical benefits? That gets to be more important the older you get. Take it from me. Fascination with the work, right? You really love doing this type of work and you want to get into it in a much more meaningful way. Or again, is it a combination of these or just something else entirely? Figure out what that is and hold on to that. That's what's going to help you to stay focused and remain vigilant throughout this entire process. keep your eye on the prize. And that prize is to complete your training and to move into that career and start earning a living. Okay, so before we wrap up, I just wanted to show you a few of the website resources that we talked about in the video today. I'm going to include those links in the show notes for you so you can take a look at them yourself. So first off, of course, is the forthetechofit.net website. And I keep the site updated. I post all my videos here as well, so you can access them from here. I have information related to free and open source software. My blogs are here, and there are various other resources that I have available on the website, as well as information about For the Tech of It. So by all means, check it out, take a look at the website, and provide me with feedback. I have a contact us form right here at the bottom of each page. Now, let's start here with O'Reilly. Now, this isn't one that I talked about, but this is a resource that I use as well. And O'Reilly Media is, they've got books available. They publish online videos. If you're interested in learning anything about computer networking, software development, there's quite a lot here on the site. Just kind of peruse through it and take a look at what all they offer. They've got some very good rates for subscriptions. You can even try it for free to start off with. And if you like it, you can go ahead and subscribe to it. And you can learn whatever topics you want. They run the gamut with various technology-related topics. Another one is called LinkedIn Learning. This one here is owned by Microsoft, actually. And just like O'Reilly Media, LinkedIn Learning has a very good catalog of technology-related training. There's even some courses on business, I think business management. Yeah, here we go. I'll click on this one. These are just a few topics here, right? So delivering an authentic elevator pitch, understanding the impact of deepfake videos, learning personal branding. I mean, the list goes on and on here. Tons of technology-related topics for you to choose from, as well as a creative category. I didn't even know they had this until recently. So that's linkedin.com/learning. Here's another called Udemy. Very similar to LinkedIn and O'Reilly. Udemy actually has a lot of free content on YouTube. So if you go on YouTube and do a search for Udemy, you will find that they've posted a lot of free content out there for you to select from. Now this one is pretty interesting. Fred Pryor seminars. I've actually attended several of these in person over the past 5 or 6 years. They also have a way that you can subscribe to their service. And I think they can even provide you with DVDs with multimedia content on them. So they've got some really good, let's look at some of the categories here. Administrative assistant, front desk receptionist training, grammar and business writing. Look at all of these. Computer software, Evelyn Wood speed reading and memory training. So take a look at the Fred Pryor, it's just pryor.com seminars. I recommend this one especially because I've actually physically attended some of these. I mentioned something about apprenticeships and internships. So this is the apprenticeship.gov website, is maintained by the U.S. government. You can go on here and look for apprenticeship opportunities. Whether you're a career seeker or you're an employer wanting to start an apprenticeship program or you're an educator. So you can come in here and essentially research different apprenticeship opportunities that you could apply for. So you definitely want to take a look at this as well. And this is apprenticeship.gov. This one is interesting. I don't know if you guys recognize this person here. This is Mike Rowe from the show Dirty Jobs. Mike actually has a foundation called the Mike Rowe Works Foundation. It's right here. He offers his foundation offers scholarships for anyone who wants to learn some type of trade, right? And come to Mike's site, take a look at what in fact, I think he restarted Dirty Jobs recently. So you can come to his site, click the About link, and he can tell you, his site will tell you exactly what the scholarship is about. And I wanted to tell you guys about this one. I didn't want to forget that. So if you like Dirty Jobs, Mike Rowe's your guy. This is Indeed.com. Again, one of the other sites I mentioned to you. What I did was I went to Indeed, clicked on Find Salaries, typed in what I was looking for, in this case, website designer, where I put New Orleans, Louisiana, and these are some of the website designer salaries that you could expect to be paid in New Orleans, Louisiana. Front-end developer, $70,329 per year. It's really good. 3 job openings. Graphic designer, application developer. So you can see they've, Indeed.com as well as Salary.com, they do a very good job at giving you some upfront information on, what type of salaries you can expect to pay. So I just wanted to share that with you all today. I hope that this episode proved to be valuable to you. I know that right now the job market is in a real crazy state, but definitely if you're interested in moving into one of the technical skill trades, look at my 5 steps here in the video. Follow those steps and stick with it. That's the important part. Stick with it. And I wish you the best of luck. So hopefully if you found this episode beneficial, click on that like button and please click subscribe. And do let me know in the comments if this is the type of content that you want to see more of from me. And until next time, peace.